What's up, everyone? Beast Mode back here with another video. So today we're going to do something a little different. I wanted to showcase the new TCG Lorcana. I have been enjoying it myself. It just came out for official release on September 1st. Some of the hobby shops were they had access to the cards in mid-August, but this has been a really talked about card game lately. You cannot find cards anywhere. The second they get on shelves and your local, Walmarts, Targets, all that, they just sell out instantly. Everyone buys them all out. And they're also trying to flip the cards for crazy money. It's just kind of an insane thing right now going on. But the reason why I wanted to make this video is because I know all of you are here for Edison content, which is what I put out. But today, I do think that this card game is really, really good for retro Yu-Gi-Oh players. I just feel that we are able to pick up this card game and just do really well with it because of the way it interacts and plays. And I feel just playing, especially if you're an old school, TCG player, if you played Magic, I just think that you'll be able to pick up this card game and really run away with it. There is a lot, so it's an easy game to learn. It's kind of like a lower version of Magic. It's not, less complicated version of Magic. It plays a lot like the old WoW TCG. I'm not sure if many of you guys remember that. I didn't play it, but I just know of it, where it kind of uses a little bit of the mana component, which don't use lands. We can use any card. They call it ink. We'll talk about it a little bit as I hop into a game, but this here is Pixelborn. It's like a dueling book essentially, where it's very, very clean. As you can see, you can make decks. You can actually import decks off of Dreamborn, which is kind of like our format library and all that. And there's a ranking system here. There's a top leaderboard. So all this is already in place, which a lot of this we're hoping to have with Yu-Gi-Oh, obviously, or Edison format. So I have made I don't know where I did with this deck. I either made it or downloaded it and switched a few things around. But this is a Emerald Ruby deck, which is strongly based around evasive monsters, which is essentially like, if any of you played Magic, monsters with flying essentially. So they can only be blocked or challenged in this game, which is essentially attacked by monsters with evasive. So it's kind of one of those things where if your opponent doesn't have evasive creatures, they really can't interact with your monsters. It's a very budget deck, friendly deck. I think it's like $50 deck, which is one of the reasons why I decided to play this. It is not the best deck of the format by any stretch of the imagination. Probably some combination of ruby amethyst, purple red, and or yellow steel, or I would say something along those lines. Those are probably the best decks. There's an Elsa that's like, I don't know, $50 if you pull a rare one, and it's like if you pull the Enchanted, which is it's the most sought after card of the set, it's thousands of dollars, especially if it's graded. So again, most people don't have those cards, so I wanted to play something online that I could actually build in person. So we're just gonna load up a game here, and we will play. We find an opponent very quickly here. This is a ranked match. I'm not sure. I've played through like the low ranked. I think I'm still in like bronze, but as you saw my record, I was like 22-9 or something like that with this deck. So opponents are getting better now though, and they're all playing the best decks of the format, which I understand. So it's getting harder to win. But as you can see, none of these cards are super amazing. Even if you haven't played this game, you can probably imagine just by looking at them, they don't look all that intimidating. But I'm going second, so that means that we are on the draw here. I like to send back a couple of these level 4s because maybe even a 3. I just don't think we need all of this. Let's just do all of this, and let's see if we can get like a 1 drop maybe. And we didn't. So we're going second, so we get the draw. So turn 1, they don't draw. Obviously, that would be really good. They get the first ink, which is essentially that. Ink is mana if you played Magic. And any card, if you look at the top left-hand corner there where it says 2, if it has that golden rose around it, can be put in the inkwell. You have to show your opponent, of course, while you're playing the game. So we'll put this in there. And we are going to essentially drop out our Sergeant Tibbs because it cost 1. And we will pass. So I like this because Magic, sometimes if you've ever played Magic, you can just get screwed over without having land. And this game here you don't really see that happening unless you're playing a deck full of cards that cannot be inked, which you'll see a couple cards in this deck that do not have that golden rose around the top left-hand corner, which means they cannot be put in the inkwell. Our opponent is doing a trigger right now. They are doing Be Our Guest. So they look at the top 4 cards of their deck and add a character to their hand, character, creature, however you want to say it. So we have a few 4s here. I think we can get rid of 1. I feel like it's important to stay on curve here, more or less dropping a character based on the cost. So we want to drop a 2 cost character here just to stay on par. And our opponent here doesn't have any monsters, so we are able to quest, which is how you win the game. When we hit 20 here, we win. So each character has a lore number. Some don't have any at all. This one here has a 1. You can see that little diamond in the right there in the bottom. And we just click the button to quest, and we say go. Again, this is not really meant to be a tutorial to learn how to play, but more or less seeing how the game interacts and decide if something you even want to look into. But I do feel that this is a great game for the old school retro Yu-Gi-Oh players. I just feel like that we'd be able to pick up this game like so easily and just be really good with it. This here is more of a late card game. It's it lets me untap one of my creatures so I can essentially attack with them again, but costs a little bit to do that. So let's stay on par here, and we're gonna drop Peter Pan. So this is the first one that has the evasive trait here. As you can see, only characters with evasive can challenge us. So challenge means attack, essentially. If somebody attacks this, then they have to discard a card from the hand. So we want to exert our characters so they will trade. Maybe I shouldn't have tapped Tibbs. Hard to say. Tinkerbell here has 2 attack and 4 toughness, essentially. So this here, they'll take 2 damage, and the damage stays on the characters, which is important. This card right here is one of the best cards in the game. This Tinkerbell here, when it gets summoned, it deals 1 damage to all of your opponent's creatures, and when she destroys something in battle, you can deal 2 damage to another creature on the board. So it's just so good, and it's strong, difficult to deal with, definitely. So I think we are just going to continue to let's get rid of the Donald Duck here. I don't think this is that great. And how do we want to do this? I guess we will do this, and I think we're going to just keep questing for 2 and make them attack us. So if they attack here, they will destroy this. They'll have to discard a card, and then they will deal 2 damage to this, which is kind of not great, but this card is amazing as well. When you summon the card, you get to look at the top 4 cards of your deck and add a song, song is essentially like, think of it as a spell card. You get to add a song to their hand. So it looks like they didn't actually add one. They might have missed. And so we are on turn 5. I think we're going to put this in there, and then we're going to drop Goofy, which also has the evasive. You can see by the little like swirl around it. And we will quest with both of these because they can't attack this one. We will say go. So this deck is the top 2 deck of the format here. The whole point of this deck is to play your whole hand out, and there's a song in the deck or spell card in the deck that says you and your opponent discard their hand and draw 7 cards. So they want to play their whole hand and then replenish it again. So it's an interesting deck. It actually works really good. It's a bunch of pluses. As you can see, Tinkerbells are just unbelievable here. But the big thing is they can't actually interact with any of them. What do we want to do? So this is not ideal at all. We don't want to drop. So Genie, when it comes down to the field, you can bounce one of your, can return a character on the field back to their owner's hand. So putting this back in their hand, they would be able to summon it again and deal another 1 damage to my creatures. I think we're just going to play, yeah, that's not a good idea. I think we're just going to put this in the inkwell here, and they're questing for 5. We're questing for 4. We can just try to race. So I'm okay with trying to do that, I guess. I don't know if we're going to win the race or not, but we're going to try, because the only way they can destroy these is by actual spells, or I have to discard both of my cards. So this card here literally says each opponent discards 2 cards. This game can actually be played with multiple people. Obviously there's no online client for that, but that's pretty cool. So you can play with like 4 people, kind of like Commander in Magic, if you guys are familiar with that. But I think that we are possibly losing this race, but maybe not. Let's see here. We are just going to keep going and trying to win the racing battle. We are going to 18. So they have to out Goofy and or Pongo, or we win. So we might just be able to steal this game just due to the fact that our cards cannot really be attacked. Because Tinkerbell wants to attack our creatures, because every time they destroy a character, they deal 2 damage to something else. So let's just hope that we have a chance of staying here. If they have grab your sword, we just lose. And I think that they realize that they can't win. Yeah, so we were able to steal that game. I'm in bronze 4 now. So yeah, so this is Lorcana. It's very, very fun. This is not the rules or anything like that. Please, if you're interested in the game, just watch a tutorial on how to play. I do think that this is kind of a great card game to pick up if you're playing retro Yu-Gi-Oh. I think that the retro Yu-Gi-Oh community could just be dominant in this game. The next set's coming out in December 1st. So right now there's only 204 cards. So this is like a perfect time to get into the card game right now because it's like the beginning. It is unbelievable popular. Like, you cannot find cards anywhere, and if you're lucky enough to find some, I would suggest buying them because people believe that this card game, the prices are going to be huge in the future. So a lot of people are just playing, either they're playing the game, a lot of people are collecting the game, and then you have a group of people who are just buying and flipping for a profit right now, which is tough because you can't find anything because one person goes into a Target and buys $1,000 worth of cards, and then there's nothing for anybody else to get. So that's kind of tough. That's why you can't find any cards right now. But again, I will be definitely doing some Edison content is what I do. If anybody's interested in actually seeing some hardcore Pixelborn, let me know. I'm going to try to play some of this on the side and try some of the better decks of the format because you can play anything obviously online. And with that said, I'll see you all on the next one.